Hello everybody, welcome back to LMM. And if you're enjoying what you're seeing on the channel at the moment, how about giving this video a like and maybe subscribing to the channel to help us grow and perhaps even check out our Patreon. Today, I'm going to be taking my first look at a scale that I've not done before on the channel. When I heard about the release of TT, I was really excited. Not that I really need to invest in another scale, but because of the possibilities of having a layout in a much smaller space. And after a lot of umming and ahhing, I decided to take the plunge and bought myself a set. Now this one was secondhand off eBay, but this is what I've got. I have got a castle and a pair of Mark I coaches and enough track to do an oval. Now this I'm very excited about because just look how cute it is. It's so much cuter than 00. It's got a wonderful kind of play quality to it. And immediately you can see how much smaller it is. And I have an idea how much more I could get in. So immediately we'll just get this wee little thing out of the box and have a look at it. I think this is a wonderful scale. Look at it. That's just so amazingly cute. Now, the first thing I get from this is, having been on Pendennis Castle relatively recently, this doesn't really capture the grandeur of the full-size prototype. It just looks cute, and I really like that cuteness to it. Now, it isn't as detailed as I'd expect, especially when you compare it to the current range of 00 models. But then again, it is a bit more small, so we can kind of forgive it for that, and it would be harder to get some of the detail in there. Particularly the fact there aren't any additional handrails or added detail at all is disappointing. It's just molded handrails there, and in fact there is some paint overflow from the safety valve bonnet there, which is again a bit of a shame. And there's no underneath. I can't see through and underneath. You can just see there where the mold comes down, and there's a very obvious mold line across there. I do like all the extra rivet detail around the smoke box here and there, and the front of the smoke box isn't bad at all. On this size, the Windsor Castle is a bit off-centre, although the number on the side is pretty nice and the tender details are completely legible and the lining's pretty good. And to be fair, the fake coal isn't terrible either. There is a complete lack of any detail in the cab whatsoever, which is a bit of a shame. And I think that the firebox looks slightly oversized. The parts here and here just look a bit too big. I guess they've been made that size to take the motor. But all in all, yeah, it does look, well, Great Western-y. I do like the fact there are the steps moulded on the front, but all in all, I feel it is a little bit detail light. And I do like all the rivets on the tender though, and I like the size of the wheels. They're all just so amazingly twee. It's beautifully twee and small. I think it's very, very cute. I'm surprised about the fact that the wheels are solid and they don't actually have individual spokes that's just molded on detail. I would have thought really that with a modern system we could have had proper wheels on it. And I'm also surprised that this one has already broken the front tension hook on it. Again, for a brand new system, I would have thought that would have been a lot better. Overall, it's not a bad looking little thing. I just would have thought it could have been better. And it's the same story when we look at the coaches. These are fine. They have glazing in them, but there's no interior detail. They have the ends molded and the steps, but it's all just molded detail. The lining is crisp and sharp, but it's all just a bit basic really. And it's the same for this one here. I mean, they do look quite nice together, but they are just, well, a tad basic. Overall, though, I think it's a nice little starter set of them together. The big thing that the set didn't come with, of course, is a controller, and that was a big disappointment. Overall, I feel it could be more detailed, it could be better, but on the other hand, for the cuteness factor of it, I think it's quite good, and I think I'm really going to enjoy this new scale. Now, obviously, I jest. This is not part of Hornby's brand new TT120. No, in fact, this is part of Triang's first attempt, which they did between 1957 and 1964. It only survived for 7 years before they canned the whole project, which was a real shame because it's got a real cute factor to it. And it's known as TT because that was tabletop gauge. versus the traditional 00. The big difference between the two, of course, is that our standard 00 is of what we call 4mm scale, roughly. TT is 3mm scale. So that just means that everything on this is slightly larger on the traditional model rails that we all know and love, compared to this, which is the TT size. Now, it's worth pointing out at this point that the modern TT 120 is a true scale, whereas both 00 and the original TT aren't quite true scales. They are near enough. Mostly both came about because of the motor sizes at the time. We couldn't get it to be quite right, so they are both thereabouts. However, I've always really liked the original TT. Whenever I've seen it somewhere, I've always thought it was really, really cute. And just, it's got that toy-like quality that I really like. These are very definitely toys. They are not the modern high-detail precision models of today. And because of that, I like it a lot more. In fact, they are the same era as the little 08 here. And this particular set was the T6. And that was this locomotive and these two coaches, although all the research I've done shows that the coaches are actually meant to be the Great Western chocolate and cream ones, and not these ones. So at some point this set has picked up the wrong coaches. But I'll live for that. That doesn't really matter. The other thing that I've realised about this set is that the rails have completely fallen apart. They've obviously been laid and then brought up, and the plastic sleepers have completely failed. So I cannot make a complete set out of the track that I have here. This is known as the B track because it's the second edition, and it's a fairly realistic track. The fact you have sleepers and the rail sitting in little chairs holding it on, and it looks pretty realistic as far as model railway track goes, with a better spacing on the sleepers than I get on my traditional double load gauge track. Now, this is the more realistic because previously to that we had A track, which is this, which came on, I presume, a Bakelite base. It's raised up and has some very poor detail in it, and it's all this a brown colour. Now, because I don't have a complete circuit of that, I went onto eBay and I bought myself a complete oval of this stuff for 15 quid, which was actually pretty good. Now, I assume that your modern TT will run on this stuff, although it will just be a different scale to these particular locomotives. And with that, the obvious thing is to find out, well, does this thing actually run? Considering that when this set was released, it was 1960, and that makes it 63 years old. So the most obvious thing to do at this point is to go set myself up an oval and find out if it does actually function. The A track went together very easily. There are little tabs that hold everything together, and soon I had myself an oval. So I went and fetched my transformer, put some pins into the power section and attached the crock clips. And then all that remained was to bring the box downstairs and put the locomotive on the track. And now I was feeling just a little bit apprehensive. It's about now that I probably should confess that I bought this set completely untested. And based on the state of the track, I don't really hold out an awful lot of hope for if this little thing is going to work. So let's see what happens. Ooh! Oh! Look at that go! Oh, that's magnificent. What a start. Oh. Let's see, what can I get you to do? That's not a bad running speed. That's amazing, straight out of the box. I don't know when it last ran, so untested. What kind of crawl can we get out of you? You know, sometimes when you try something that's secondhand and you're absolutely flabbergasted by it, this is one of those times I'm just amazed that straight out of the box it's going, yeah, okay, boss, I'll go. And I think it shows something of the resilience of the good old Triang models, the fact that they just work. I mean, that's not the smoothest crawl I've ever seen, but it is still, that's quite an acceptable crawl. Oh, well, based on that, we'll turn that off. We'll grab 1 and 2, and we'll give these a test. And see what it's like with its train. Obviously there's a lot more rolling resistance, but that is Triang era stock for you. But look at that! Now, as I alluded to, I don't think with modern stuff you'll have something that's 63 years old that you pull straight out of a box and it goes, yeah, all right, fine. Something that apparently to the ad was found in an attic. And I've just given it power and away it goes. And actually, like, on this scale, this is brilliant. I really, really see the appeal of TT. It's just cute. Because also I've managed to fit a decent sized loop on the table. And the amusing thing is, I can only just fit an oval of 00's gauge with first radius curves on this, whereas this is actually a half decent run. It also been trying has the most wonderful aroma. That's superb. Now obviously, this is going to be bigger and it's a more coarse scale than the brand new TT120. However, I just really like this. Now I would like to see what TT120 is like compared to this, but this has just got such a wonderful toy-like quality to it that just makes me happy. Now the question I've got though is, as amazing as this thing is for running straight out of the box, I wonder if it will make any difference if I now take it upstairs, strip it and give it a quick service. Let's give that a try, shall we? Come on you, I've got an idea. So with that, let's get down to it. So I've got my little box here that has many things in it, such as screwdrivers. Now all we're going to do is undo the lid. And then that pulls off the back. And that then reveals our chassis and motor, which in truth didn't look too bad. There was a bit of fluff there. Don't run your models on the carpets, kids, but actually pretty happy. Even the brushes, when I checked, weren't in bad condition either. So it was time to get a screwdriver out and start to just pull the fluff away from the wheels. Ugh. This took some time. Next up, we're going to just take the base plate off. So we'll zip these out. That should just... Oh, I see some cracks in that. Don't want to pull that too hard. Gently, gently. Whoops. Oh no. Oh no, indeed. After 63 years, I had broken it. This is the bottom of the base plate, which holds the pickup and isolates it from the rest of the frame. So it was time to break up my friend the super glue and see if we can magic this stuff back together again. Of course, the biggest challenge would be if I could actually get the thing to stick back together again and not stick it to my fingers. Luckily, it was all fairly clean breaks, and I was amazed that the thing did actually fit back together, and when I applied some glue, it stuck itself back together again. And with it all back in one piece, I put it to one side to dry, in the hopes that perhaps it would hold together. My next job was to pull out some more of the fluff from the mechanism and then unsolder the pickups so I could pull the wheel set out from underneath and take a look and see if there's anything left in there. There was nothing contaminating the inside of the wheel wells, so I went and got my oil and my pricker so I could drop just the odd drop of oil into there to help with lubrication. Then I could feed my wire back through the base plate and then begin the process of reattaching the wheels and the base plate. This didn't take me hours and hours and hours to line up. It was awful. I'm never doing it again, ever. But eventually, it went back together and I could resolder the pickups and give a little customary oil to the running gear and the motion. And then it was time to test and give the wheels a clean. Look at them now. Look at the shine on them after a clean. This is going to be so much better. Having broken and then fixed it, I was feeling pretty pleased with myself. So I put the lid back on and tightened up the screw down the chimney. So with that all back together, let's go and test it and see if it's made any difference whatsoever. So here we go with the grand moment of, have I improved it or have I made it worse? Well, I'd go as far as to say I think that's been a monumental success. That's running a lot happier now. Let's see what difference it makes if I give it its train again. Oh, so a service was definitely worth it. It's made a bit of a difference. It's a bit quieter. It's running a bit happier. It's definitely a bit smoother. I think it's actually notably quieter. Still making that lovely triang noise, but still not quite as bad as it once was. I'm really pleased with that. I think I've done a good job with it. This is genuinely super. Now, the big problem is, as this was a success, I now want to do something more with this. I'm really enjoying this scale. I'm not sure what I want to do, but I want to lay out in Triang TT. It is genuinely something very special. It's just so cute. I love watching it go around. Now, obviously, there is a big difference between this stuff, Triang TT, and Hornby's brand new TT 120. That's a true scale. This is an approximation. I would be interested in seeing how the Hornby stuff compares with this, but frankly, this is the stuff that I'm interested in. So I hope you've enjoyed this diving into the back catalogue of the old Triang models with the original Triang TT, long before Hornby reimagined it and came out with it as something new. This is the OG, the original, and frankly, I think it's awesome. I love old Triang stuff, and this is just fantastic. And if you have enjoyed this one, how about clicking somewhere over there for another one of our model railway videos, and somewhere over there for a video we've done on the full-size railway, perhaps even the one we did with the castle itself. And with that, I'm just going to play more trains. Oh, it definitely goes faster.